Hello. Welcome back again to the another code update. All right, so by now we have some of our front end completed. So I'll start with the work that I did and then talk about the other two members and what they did. So I worked on the login GUI, and this is the file for that. So all of these are just the imports for Windows Builder and action buttons and event clicks and all that fun stuff. The public class here, this defines the public class and it's named login GUI. This is what the users will be using when they log in to the application. Declaring the private JFrame instance to hold the window, the text field, and the password fields. This is just all the elements of the app window that pops up when we run it. Alright, so this is the beginning of the app. Event queue invoke later invokes the runnable on the event dispatch thread. We have a try catch here as well to create the instance of the login GUI and then make the window visible. And then this catches any exceptions that occur, so it will close it if there are exceptions, and then print the stack trace of the exception. Over here we have the constructor class, or constructor of the login GUI class, and it just calls the method that sets up all of the fun GUI components. So I'll go through just one of these because it's going to get kind of repetitive. But this one creates the JFrame instance. This one sets all the bounds, so the size of the actual window that's going to show up. This one sets the default close operation, so when you press the X, then it actually closes. And then this one sets the layout manager to null for absolute positioning. Very similar to all of these, position, size, creates the text field, adds the username, sets the number of columns. Same thing for the password, position and size. Add a new button for the login, sets the position and size, and adds the frame or the actual button to the content pane. Now this one adds the action listener to handle button clicks, so when the button is pressed it actually does something. And this is the event that handles what happens when a button is pressed. So it will check for the username, it will check for the password, and then it will check here in this if statement to see if the credentials are valid. Now right now I have the credentials set down here as admin and password just because I didn't figure out how to connect it to a SQL database yet, but that is the next plan. But yeah, haven't done that yet, but I will run it. And oh yeah, there's also a option that shows if it's incorrect, so I guess I'll do that one first. So we have the window that pops over here when you run it. I want to add like a login up here and username password, but let's just say 1234 and 1234, and this should not work. Alright, cool. So invalid username and password, obviously that's not admin or password, so let's add the right login information in, and wow, it pops up. Cool. So this is the app from then on. Application de gestión financiera. I guess someone was experimenting with the language setting. I don't think we have that fully completed just yet. But here, if you input the monthly income, let's say it's 3,500. 0 savings expense, how much we want to save for the month. Let's go 1,500. And for monthly expenses, let's say we have $1,200 in monthly expenses. Submit. Add it up here, and let's just say that was everything. So eventually this is going to show up in this text box. Now I wasn't working on that one, but I think Zach was. So eventually that'll be connected to that. But yeah. So the other two new additions were the finance GUI and language GUI. I'll go through the finance first, and this is one that I think Zach worked on. So this is all of the imports to enable all the Windows Builder items, buttons, frames, labels, etc. Launching the app, setting up the window, making sure it's visible. If there's exceptions, print the stack trace so we can find out what happened. Create the app, finance GUI screen. This is all of the components that make up the screen. So this is if the language selected is English. So if this language equals English, then everything is all set up in English. I guess we didn't have the language option to choose just right yet. But these are just all of the components: monthly income, savings, all the fonts. Oops, all the fonts and frame sizes and labels. All very similar. We have all of the text fields that users can submit something into. So the income, the savings, and expenses, all here. Then the submit button. So then when the button is pressed to submit it, it logs it in the console here. Eventually that will log it into the app itself. So this calls all variables that are needed to print and update the GUIs. And then below here, it looks like we have what will be soon added to the GUI. Nice. New total expenses. Spend button clicked. My finance. Making it a double. Spending, converting it to a string. Printing out everything that is extra. Reset after submit for multiple entries. Setting it to text. So I guess this is the default when it's 0 or nothing's entered. More fonts, sizing, content pane, setting TB. It's all just a lot more format of how the application is like laid out physically, I guess. Submit a button for another expense, just another button to press. So we'll continue to add variable expenses in order to keep track of the actual expense total. Soon we'll add the option to view each expense and their amount. Okay, awesome. So this keeps track of the different expenses that are added in. Nice. And this is the Spanish option. I don't think everything was converted. This would be like bienvenidos or something, but that'll be changed. Of course, all this submit and total savings, that will all be in Spanish for the other option. And here is the language GUI. Why did I do that? All of the Windows Builder elements again. Creating the frame, combo box, whatever language that was selected, and the actual launch of the application. Creates the window, sets it up. If it's an exception, prints the stack trace again. Public language GUI initializes all of the contents, and here are all the contents of the frame. Here's the language selection, combo box, the size of it. Button to proceed. Cool. That will listen to when the person presses the button, and this will happen when the person presses the button. And so it looks like if this person selects one of the languages, it will hide the GUI, close the frame, and launch the login GUI. So let's see if I can just run this. Oh, okay. Well, I get an error there, but I'm sure that works in another video, hopefully. Logging GUI main string, else, please select the valid language. Yeah, so that's what we're up to right now. A lot of the components are working on my end, except for that language part. But yeah.